Hello, my name is Tara Brabazon and I'm the Dean of Graduate Research at Flinders University, and welcome to vlog 189, how to increase the speed of your PhD. And this vlog comes from multiple requests from people just about to start their PhD and wanting to ensure efficiency, people in the mire of the middle, just not quite sure how they're going to move forward, and people at the end who really hope they're at the end and would really like to speed up that ending. So today we're going to do a very quick vlog. We're going to have 20 quick tips that might just get you through wherever you are in your candidature, but most importantly freshen you up a bit. If you just need a new idea, an infusion of something to give you that momentum, then this is your vlog. Shall we do it? Yep, let's do it. Boom. 1. Write all the way through your candidature. Write all the way through your candidature. Assuming that you can write up at the end is the pathway to madness. From the first week, nay, the first day, write. It may be writing a discussion paper, 500 words on a concept or an idea. It may be bringing together 5 articles that you've read and gone, oh, what am I learning about this? So basically journaling the journey, keep writing. And the reason I'm recommending that is not only are you able to actually put words on the page or on the screen to enable your completion, and that's content, but actually it's about form. We learn to write by writing. And I see a lot of students in profound problems in the final year of their candidature because they basically haven't written since their undergraduate or since their honours degree, and they're finding that they're not writing well. Now that's no surprise because we learn to write by writing, so keep writing throughout the candidature. 2, huge. Find a community of experienced PhD students. Now this doesn't have to be in your institution, it doesn't even have to be in your discipline. Just a group of like-minded people, online or offline, in real world or online, and talk to them, learn from them. When they tell you their truths, learn from their experience and their expertise. So put a cohort, put a group of peers around you to carry you through the journey. Community matters. 3, community matters, but yes, you knew we'd go there, supervision matters. The difference between the students that are tricked, that is, leave the program, and the students that stay and complete is, you've guessed it, the quality of the supervision. So for those of you at the start, really spend the time and do research on your supervisor. Talk with their students, check out their CV, check out their publications, check out how many students they've got through and the timeliness of those completions. And if you have a dodgy feeling at the start, then don't go there. So your choice of supervisor or advisor in the North American system is the key moment in determining the success of your PhD. So take the time at the start. Work hard, really do some work on who that person is, and that will enable your completion. Trust me, in the final few years, the final year, if the supervisory relationship falls apart, you don't finish quickly and you may not finish at all. 4, big one, learn to take feedback. Taking feedback is tough, and particularly when it's offered in somewhat robust vocabulary or language. But the best students hear the big critiques early in the candidature. So if your supervisor, advisor, or a referee of a paper offers you a really incisive, big critique of your work, then I tell you what, address that and address it early. It's very easy to ignore uncomfortable truths. And of course, our entire culture is based on moving towards the pleasant, moving towards things that make us feel better about ourselves and not dealing with the tough stuff. But these early critiques about research design, about methodology, about theoretical engagements, they can save you months, nay, years going forward. And I see so many students in the final 3 months, and let's hope it is the final 3 months, where they haven't taken a critique for years, and the critique doesn't go away. It stays there festering in the thesis until an often exasperated supervisor says, please, if you leave this in, it will fail. And they've told them that for 3 years. So hear it early and do something about it. 5. Small theses are the best theses. Keep the dissertation topic or area as precise as you can. Remember, I often talk about a PhD as a well. It's small at the top, but deep. It's a deep seam. So something small, but do it well. Get the research questions right. Get them as tight as you can, as early as you can, and aim for a strong and narrow research design. 6. Aim for regular meetings, because regular meetings with your supervisor, that is the characteristic of the fast completers. So the students that finish quickly, and research around the world shows this, students that finish quickly have weekly meetings. Now that seems beyond the pale for a lot of supervisors and indeed a lot of students. But what actually happens is it creates an accountability cycle. So you as a student, you have to front with work, or at least some ideas or some movement. So meet with your supervisor, meet with your advisor, and that meeting doesn't have to be long. And by the way, the research shows if it's a Skype meeting or a Zoom meeting, so a digital meeting or an analog in the office meeting, the completion is the same. So it's the accountability cycle of the weekly meetings. 7, this is a big one. These students get through easily. 7, give yourself a word count deadline every single day. Now for some students, particularly part-timers, those who have caring responsibilities, those in full-time work or really difficult jobs, giving yourself a hard word deadline every single day makes the difference. So for some people, that is 250 words a day. Now that seems an incredibly small amount, but 250 words a day will get you home. For some people, it's 500 words a day, and they sit at their desk and they do their 250 words and they don't stop until they've got it, then they can walk away from the table. Now there's a reason why this type of writing is important to a PhD. Professor Theresa Maffei stated that, quote, and I love this, because writing is thinking, so let's just stop there for a moment. Because writing is thinking, brilliant thoughts do not just appear on the page after long hours of arduous musing on a subject. In my experience, the best ideas almost always come about through the act of writing itself. End of quote. Brilliant. So of course this avoids the writing up the end disaster that we discussed earlier. It also ensures that students remain connected with their PhD every single day, which leads us to 8. Stay connected with your PhD every single day. Yes, that includes part-time students. I recently had a student in the office sitting there who was seriously over time, like seriously over time in her candidature, and we were making a decision whether or not we were going to terminate a candidature or try and find a way to get her home. They're challenging meetings, those ones. And she said to me, Tara, all I've got left to do, I've just got the introduction left to do, and it'll take me 2 days. That's all I've got left to do, an introduction, and it'll take me 2 days. Now I tried to be as empathic as I could be. I always try to be. Doing a PhD is tough, that's why it's a PhD. And I tried to be empathic, but I also had to tell her a really, really tough truth. And I replied, it's October. You've been trying to find 2 days to finish that introduction since March. Something that takes 2 days, and you haven't found those 2 days in 8 months. So what's going to change now? And that's the point, team. The lesson to learn is hoping to write on the weekends or write a morning a week. You know, those commitments are going to dissipate. Life infuses your days. Stuff happens. So most importantly, I think, and this is what happened to this lass in particular, not only did she not write regularly, but she lost connection with her thesis. So it was very easy to simply park by the side of the road. So the best strategy is a little and often. So one way to do that is that number of words every day. Another way is to do it through a number of hours or 30 minutes a day. Stay connected with the thesis. 9, one of my favourites, do it now. Do it now. Waiting for the easy month, the easy week, the easy weekend, leaving it till the Christmas holidays, is hoping for a reconnection with your thesis that will never ever happen. There is no right time to do a PhD. Every day, every week, every month, every year poses challenges. So find half an hour and write now. Write now. Don't wait, do it now. Do not wait for a good time to read, read now. Do not wait for a good time to write, write now. 10. Don't focus on the big picture. Now I know this seems incredibly counterintuitive. All the talk is on the story of the PhD. What are you doing? What's your original contribution to knowledge? But actually the students who get through have what am I doing? What's my original contribution to knowledge? But then they park that nice and early. And the best theses and the best candidates focus on the next task, the next job, not the entire thesis. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do now? And so every day, give yourself one job. You have one job. Yes, you have one job. A small, discrete, controllable task. Start it and finish it. Do not become overwhelmed. Finish that one job. 11. Stop social media notifications. To finish that job, you need to start that job and you need to concentrate. But if you're working within reach of your phone, and I see this when I walk through the library every single day, if you're working within reach of your phone, or you have Facebook or Twitter notifications up on your screen, you are distracted and you are deflected from your key tasks. If you can't do this, if you're actually at a point where you need stuff, you need the stuff around you and the endless distraction, if you've got there, then use a series of apps. Focal filter's great, cold turkey is great, self-control is great. So download those apps and force yourself to learn a bit of discipline. So stop the notifications, stop them. Focus on your work. Use social media in a different way, which is tip 12. 12. Use social media as a study break. If you don't want to block social media because it's like reality, it's like life, I get that, then what you have to do is find a strategy to remove it and then integrate it into your life in a productive way. So don't leave social media sites up. I can't believe people do this, because that means you're endlessly flicking between your actual PhD, your research, which is the most important thing, and whether or not someone likes your picture on Instagram, which doesn't matter at all. So what I suggest and what I do myself is I choose when I go to those sites. So give yourself a deadline. Do a series of tasks, one task, series of tasks, and then when those tasks are done, give yourself a 10-minute break and time it to go to Facebook or go to Instagram. So that's a nice leisure moment after completing a task. So control your use of digitization. Remember, I wrote a book called Digital Dieting, so I know about this stuff. And what that control enables you is to complete your thesis. It'll also allow you to understand the difference between work and leisure, which is increasingly blurring in our culture and is problematic. So don't confuse, don't mingle digitization for work and digitization for leisure. understand the difference and bring in digitisation for leisure once the work is completed. 13. Recognise that there's never a perfect time to do a PhD. If you're waiting for the perfect moment, yes, that perfect year, it's never going to happen. Dreadful things happen to good people all the time. 3 years, let alone the 4 or 5 years in some systems, 3 years of one's life, something terrible happens in every 3-year cycle. So people die, people get sick, bad stuff occurs, you lose your job, all sorts of things occur. So don't aim for perfectionism, the perfect time, the perfect year. Just aim to finish that task. The great researchers, the truly great scholars, fight their way through the difficult times. They don't wait for the good times, they fight their way through the tough times. So persist when times are bad. Don't procrastinate, persist. Work through the bad times. 14, crucial one, use the library, use librarians, and gain information literacy really early. I am always stunned when a student says to me, often in my office, that look, I can't find any research on that topic. They're often sitting there, and what occurs is I go, right, so I've listened to the members, not my thesis, not my research area, and I've gathered up their keywords and a couple of the key authors and researchers in that field. I turn to my computer, I go to Google Scholar, I type in about 8 or 9 keywords, click results from 2019, and I find between 850 and 2,000 refereed articles on the topic where they've said there's nothing. Now often the student looks at me like this, like I am a wizard. And look, I wish I was a wizard. I wish it was sorcery, but sadly it's not sorcery, it's information literacy. You can save months, and to be frank with you, you can save a year off your PhD if you make friends with your librarian and you learn information literacy skills. The gift of digitisation, wow. The gift of open access journals is that high quality, international, brilliant minds are delivered to our desktop if we have the information literacy skills to sort and sift them. So let librarians loan you those skills, but importantly, for those of you that are just about to start the PhD, how about you do a MOOC? How about you do some sort of course about information literacy? That's a great use of the month before you start a PhD. 15, remove something from your life. You cannot add a PhD to an already full life. I've seen so many students do it and they don't make it. They don't make it through the first year, to be honest with you. I treat life like a bucket because I'm classy. I treat life like a bucket. And if your bucket is already full, you can't add stuff to it because it's full. So you have to take some stuff out of the bucket to put something into the bucket. So ask yourself, and this is big, this is important, ask yourself what you are going to take out, what you're going to give away, what you're going to remove. And this will probably involve a very difficult conversation with your friends and your family, because what it involves is you looking at the shape of your week and seeing something that takes 2 or 3 hours and removing it. So it may be taking the kids to music, taking the kids to sport, it may be grocery shopping, and you have to discuss that matter with your partner and say, would you be able to give me those 2 hours a week? Now this is important. State that this is a temporary family change and be accountable for that change. Remember, your family, your friends, your partner is really taking on a heavy burden there. So you be accountable for those 2 hours that they are giving you. Show gratitude to your partner, to your kids, because their sacrifice is allowing you to do that doctorate. And that's why you see relationship breakups are so common in and through a PhD, because people have a bucket, the bucket's full, they add a PhD and the bucket just splits, right? So you've got to take something out with consciousness, with transparency, and talk about it with your family and friends and say, I know you're really suffering because of my PhD, this is temporary, let me be accountable. At the end of those 2 hours, I will tell you how I've used them. And that's good for them, it's also good for you. 16. Again, probably the most important one. I didn't realise how important this was, until so many of you asked me about this. So 16, select a note-taking system early and stick to it. At the start of your PhD, select a way of taking notes and stick to that method. There are plenty of strategies. Find one that you're cool with and then stick to it. Now also use external hard drives to back up those notes. If you're in a PhD, you need to be backing up your work in the morning and at night, every single day, twice, because the way you finish quickly is you don't even lose a day's work, okay? Back up morning and night. Great note taking saves you months, might even save you a year. Particularly, it enables your writing and the speed of your writing. Can I say, will also ensure that you have the notes and everything you've done during your PhD for the rest of your career. And as you know, I have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pages of notes that started actually with my research masters. So back in 1991, I have all the notes for everything I've read since 1991. So pick a topic, I have notes on it today. 17, important one, work out the best time of the day or night for you to write or to read or do research. So what are your best 2 hours of the day? Put your most difficult tasks into those 2 hours, and that will create peak efficiency. By the way, that's the other reason I'm getting social media away from you, because there's your peak time. Why would you be going to Facebook during your peak time? So this habit of, here's my peak time, the most difficult work goes in there, crunchy, 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 I finish it. This habit will enable you to complete your PhD really quickly. It also allows you to understand what is your worst time of the day. And I do this, by the way, with great clarity, because I don't have a lot of time. I have a full-time job here. And so any research I do has to be around a full-time job. Yep. So I also know my worst times of the day, and I insert pretty low-grade tasks into those hours. So that might involve spelling checking of documents, moving text around, formatting, doing your bibliography. 18, keep fresh in your drafting processes. Keep fresh. So much of research, particularly writing and editing, is incredibly boring. But a thesis is finished not only through continual writing, but also continual editing and drafting. Therefore, make sure you use the full range of platforms that are available for you to draft. So yes, use spelling checkers, use some very interesting grammatical checkers that exist at the moment, but also draft on paper. Print out your drafts, use the bus trips, use the train trips. I use them obsessively, use flights to engage with those print-based drafts. So drafting on paper finds completely different errors to drafting on a screen, right? Also, and even though it feels a bit weird, another great strategy to freshen up your drafting is to read stuff out aloud. But particularly for the abstract, for your introduction and the conclusion, this is a great way to find really unusual errors and also to defamiliarize your relationship with your own words. So don't read the same stuff the same way over and over. I want you to shake it up for me. 19. Could change your life if you haven't done this already. 19. Put your entire thesis into one document as soon as possible. This is a big one. I cannot tell you what putting all your work into one thesis document does to you, intellectually, emotionally, but also socially. I've had students with my wonderful late husband, Steve Redhead, who were enrolled for 8.5, 9, 10 years. You've met some of them in these vlogs. So enrolled for 8, 9, 10 years. And they didn't know if there was a thesis, and the first thing we said to them was, let's see what we've got here. Let's see what we've got here. Let's just put it all into one document and see. And this person who didn't know if they had a thesis and didn't know if they were going to stay in the program looked at it and they went, I've got a thesis. And they didn't know for 8.5 years until they put it into a single document. Now, it's a big relief to do this. It's also a moment where you can start to work on the whole document. So if you're writing 250 words a day, you can write it anywhere in the document. So it doesn't matter, what are you feeling like doing today? Write your 250 words, walk away. With my students that start with me, I actually get them to have a full document for their entire thesis from the very start. So it starts with, there's the title page, there's the contents page, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, so the headings, and then they start to fill in from there. So my students start with a whole document for their entire thesis from week 1. But the sense of achievement is clear because you can see the tasks being completed and the gaps being filled. 20. Celebrate each micro success. This is so important. PhD students struggle. When you're in the middle of it, you're just in slog land. I get that. So that's the advantage, team, of breaking big jobs into really small jobs or tasks. And the other great point of breaking it into a little task is you can celebrate each of those little tasks. And you need to celebrate each one. So I've written 250 words. Wow, that's fantastic. This morning, before I record this vlog, about, so what time is it now? About 7:30 at 4 o'clock this morning, I finished the beginning component, the rationale of a book proposal. Always the hardest bit to write, because why does this book exist? Why does it matter? And I wrote that rationale this morning. I went, whoa, yeah, come on. So every micro success you have, go, yeah, that's good. That's an achievement. Well done, you. I say it out loud, but that's who I am. But celebrate it, acknowledge that was the task and you've completed it, you're a rock star. So if you're reading 5 articles a day and taking notes, wow, celebrate each article that you read. And so make sure you take that pause, take that moment and acknowledge what you have done. Right, so there's our 20 quick and dirty tips so you can complete a thesis quickly, increase your speed. But also if you're becoming a little bit stale in your candidature, so it's like, oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. One of these jobs or tasks can be inserted into your program and freshen you up just a little bit. But what I'd say is you've got this and you've got it at speed. I wish you love, light and peace. Tea out.